You wanted to move the bill?
Yes, I'd like to move the bill. I'm going to support it. I do think that the comments made by the gentleman from WISP are very well taken, but I'm going to move the bill.
Okay. Comments or questions by members? Senator Fuller?
I'd just like to put two concerns on the radar. The first, though, I'd like to say that, you know, it's great that we had this fund in order to respond immediately, which seems to be the issue we need to do, to whatever threat it was when we're not sure if it's oil or what it is. So I think that was good. I think the second thing is it was allowable enough that that emergency was taken care of. But now I think there's a possibility that we will threaten fund stability for a couple of reasons. The first, over the long term, and I think if we could find a way to put in some amendments that would minimize those threats on long-term stability, and I think we can, that there's some opportunities here to be flexible. Number one is that we don't know what the inland expansion demand is going on cost is going to be yet. So I think we need to come to terms with something like, if the fund is reduced below 80% by the loan, no more loans can go out or some such thing, in order to keep the integrity of the fund in place. Because if we don't have it, if I understand it correctly, if there's not cash on hand for immediate response, then we lose the opportunity to do good cleanup because it takes too long. So I talked to PERS the other day, and they thought 80% of their funds cash on hand would be good if they had it. So I would say 80 to 88% of fund, and I don't think that would affect it now, but it could protect it in the long term. I think the other thing should be that it should, instead of annual, it should be as an emergency or mystery pollutants or something like that that defined it so that it couldn't become just anything and then we find ourselves without money. And I think the other thing we have to think about is maybe it's not annually forever, maybe it's for a number of years, or maybe this percentage on it would be good, because if we are setting out to reduce oil by 50% in the next couple of years, this fund will decrease by probably 50% in the next couple of years. So while there's not a problem now, you know, there could be later, but I think it could all be taken care of by saying that at any time the fund has to be vested up to whatever you and the oil guys agree on. And I don't have any idea what the annual demand on this fund is that would be reasonable. But I would use the 80% number just because that's what PERS thought was good, although we all admit that PERS having 80% probably wouldn't make us feel that much better either. Okay, thank you.
No, good comment, Senator Fuller, and I'm going to wait till everyone makes a comment who wants to, and then have Senator Leno address that in their close. Senator Stone.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm just pleased that there was a group that came together to mitigate the spill, whatever it was, and help the bird population survive the contamination. A few concerns I have is that, you know, how do we explain to the petroleum fee payers that we're going to use their money for non-petroleum efforts, cleanup efforts? There's no nexus for them to pay this for other causes. Also, will this, as his balance goes down, will the petroleum industry then be required to continue to assess themselves on a per gallon, per barrel basis to bring that fund back up to its statutory balance? Do we know what the balance is in the fund today? And if it isn't at a level that my colleague suggests, what do we do when we do have a significant spill and there's not enough money in the fund to clean up an oil-related incident? And I also am concerned about the precedent, the $40 million to the general fund that hasn't been paid back. Counties are owed $85 million from the state for over a decade. We're not getting paid back. We got many financial challenges ahead of us in the next few years with Prop 30 coming to a potential end. our shared responsibility for the Affordable Health Care Act, reducing our energy or petroleum energy consumption in this state by 2030 by using alternative forms of energy. So we never know when there's going to be another significant oil event in the San Francisco Bay or maybe even in the ports. I want to make sure that the money that's being paid by the petroleum industry is going to be available for this cleanup and the protection of the millions of fish and birds that could die without quick remediation. So maybe the author can respond to some of those concerns.
Close. Any other questions by members before I ask Senator Leno to please close and address some of the comments and statements from members? It's already been moved, Senator Jackson.
Yes, I do have a quick question. Is there an agency tagged with trying to identify the polluter for purposes of reimbursement? And how is that going to proceed? I know we all want to make sure that the responsible party is the one that pays. Is there some process in place to make that happen?
Yes, we're using state laboratories currently to identify what the substance actually was. So far, they've concluded that it was non-petroleum based, but exactly what it is still unknown. Once it's known, it'll be that much more readily traced back to the polluter.
And who will have the ability to seek reimbursement or to sue in order to make that happen? Where does that lie?
The Office of Spill Prevention and Response.
And are they equipped and prepared to proceed in that fashion and be assertive and collecting?
I think they have every incentive to do so, especially if we were to implement this, because it would be to their advantage to have their fund replenished.
I guess I'm concerned, too, that there's a lot that hasn't been repaid. I don't know why that is. I mean, the polluters generally don't step forward with a mea culpa and write a check right away. So it seems to me it'll be important to have a mechanism available for an aggressive and an effective resolution of payment so that, you know, we don't just say, oh, well, the state will cover it. But I would like to see us very aggressively pursue the polluters once they're identified and be assured that they are going to pay so that the fund is maintained appropriately.
I don't think anyone would have an incentive not to do just that.
And Senator Leno, if you could close, and if there's
Sure.
anything else you'd like to add on to Senator Jackson's comments.
Just wanted to clarify relative to a comment that was made by Senator Fuller that OSPR did not step forward and this fund was not used. It was only because of the good graces of the nonprofit community that this crisis was dealt with and that hundreds of birds, additional birds, did not die. So the question is it really, are we such a broken state that we have to rely upon community-based nonprofits when there's a spill in our public waterways and that the state has nothing in place if it's non-petroleum based? So if you can't support this, I'd be very happy to work with you. We've got few options. Either use general fund money, which we know there are endless demands on it, so I don't know that there would be political will for that. Allow for this relatively small borrowing of no more than $500,000 annually, and it's never been used before. These are very rare spills, or create a new fee. Those are about our options. I don't know if there's political will to create a new fee. I don't know if there's political will to use the general fund. So it seems that this fund could be appropriate, and by law, as Senator Stone points out, since there is no nexus between non-petroleum and petroleum spill, other than the common affront on our waterways, it by law must be paid back, so it will be paid back.
It's a loan, yeah. All right, there is a motion on the floor to do pass to the Rules Committee because it'll be double referred. Roll call, please.
Senators Pavley.
Aye.
Pavley, aye. Stone? No. Stone, no. Allen? Allen, aye. Fuller? Hertzberg? Hueso? Jackson? Jackson, aye. Monning? Wolk? Wolk, aye. It has 4.
It has 4 votes. We'll place it on call. We need one more vote. Senator Leno.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members.
Thank you. And then Senator Woke, let's take you next. The good news is while you're coming up, I'm going to go ahead and open the roll on the consent calendar item number 11, but you're going to go down and present on file item 8. Yes, with your muffins. On file item 11, consent calendar, this is Senator Wilkes' bill relating to food safety and grist mills. Roll call, please.
Senators Pavley?
Aye.
Pavley, aye. Stone?
Aye.
Stone, aye. Allen?
11.
Fuller? Fuller, aye. Hertzberg? Hueso? Jackson? Jackson, aye. Monning? Wilk?
Aye.
Wilk, aye.
Madam Chair.
It has enough votes, but we'll leave it on for add-ons. So thank you very much for the flour from the grist mill.
Yes.
And may we not hear this bill again next year.
Yes.
Not that we don't enjoy the,
Senator Monning said he thought he really wanted the bill to be vetoed again so that we could have cornmeal muffins
Right.
every year.
good.
I didn't like that.
Yes, we don't want that. File item 8, Senator Wilkes, Senate Bill 555, Department of Water Resources, Urban Retail Water Supplies and Water Loss Audit. Seems like a good idea to me. Let's hear the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. I will accept the committee amendment, which gives DWR a year to promulgate the rules instead of 6 months as listed in the current language as an author's amendment. 555 will establish annual requirements for the filing of water loss audit reports by urban water suppliers. This requires the Department of Water Resources to adopt the rules by January 1st, 2017 with the amendment for urban water suppliers to conduct audits in accordance with the method adopted by the American Water Works Association. This bill also requires DWR to provide technical assistance on water loss detection programs, to consult with the State Water Board to make sure that the metrics reporting yearly progress make some sense, and requires the Water Board to adopt rules requiring the retail suppliers to meet certain performance standards for the volume of water losses. Water loss, although we cannot pinpoint the amount of water that is lost to urban areas due to leaks, we know from various studies that this is an issue. It is an expensive issue. We know that our infrastructure is aging. We know from the extraordinary water main breaks, which although the Los Angeles water main breaks make the news, the fact is all of our communities, I'm sure, all of us are aware of what's going on in the local communities with aging infrastructure and how extremely expensive it is. Once you know it's important to know and to have validated the water loss information so that then you can repair leaks, you can target pipe. That is the first step toward repairing and replacing and conserving using the water cost effectively. We know that despite free audit software and best management practices, for water loss, urban water suppliers have been slow to realize the full potential of water loss control. But of course, with the drought, and with the recent restrictions that are going to be put in place, largely on urban water users, it's really important to gain the last drop from every water, the use from every drop of water that exists. This bill is supported by the Natural Resources Defense Council, Clean Water Action, and the Sierra Club. And with me today is Victoria Rome, welcome, from the NRDC. I ask for your aye vote.
And I don't note any opposition to this
No.
measure. Is there, Senator Wilk?
Not yet.
Senator, Dennis, did we get any? All right. Natural Resources Defense Council.
Be brief. Good morning, Madam Chair and members. I'm Victoria Rome with the Natural Resources Defense Council. We strongly support SB 555 to promote more efficient delivery of water to our homes and buildings. Urban water systems deliver treated water under pressure to their customers through miles of pipes. These pressurized systems include large numbers of valves, joints, and connections, with resulting unavoidable water losses. As Senator Wilkes stated, reports have found significant water being lost through these systems, which also means that we have a huge opportunity to save more water by improving water loss management. SB 555 would require annual reporting on water loss findings beginning in 2017, thus providing the information on water leaks and losses on a more frequent and useful basis. The bill also requires that the water audit reports be validated by technical experts who can ensure the reliability of the data. As we grapple with another year of drought, it is more urgent than ever that we improve water efficiency throughout the state. SB 555 addresses one important but traditionally overlooked sector where we can save water in a cost-effective manner. Please vote aye on the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Other people in support?
Madam Chair, members, Justin Malone on behalf of the U.S. Green Building Council, we're very much in support and we echo what NRDC has just said.
Perfect. Thank you.
Andrew Grinberg, Clean Water Action and support. Thank you.
Guessing this could be the Sierra Club in support.
Olivia Regali, Sierra Club, California, in support.
All right. Anyone else in support of this measure? Any opposition to this bill? Is there a motion or questions? Senator Jackson?
I'm wondering, do we have any estimate on the amount of water loss that we experience from urban use?
There are various estimates, and the one study that we have from 2010 says that 10% of urban water, or 800, almost a million acre feet, is lost to leaks, and 40% of that water could be cost effectively recovered through, basic maintenance, leak repair, pipe replacement, things that local communities have a great deal of trouble doing, but it's really important now with the cost of water to do that.
Have they also, are there also estimates for the amount of water loss that comes from agricultural non-urban use?
I don't have that information.